Okay, the other day I was just kind of looking through my emails, and there was one with big letters, John Morrow. John Morrow. Well, I happen to know who John Morrow was, and he was the center of the 1964 Browns. I clicked on the email, and it was from his nephew, Jordan. And Jordan, who was a lawyer in Savannah, says, Terry, I know you wrote a book on the 64 Browns, and I just wondered if you realized my Uncle John Morrow recently died up in Wisconsin. And so Morrow was the center on that team. And I called him up, we talked for a while. How about this? Morrow was drafted in 1956 by the Los Angeles Rams. There were 30 rounds in that draft. He was a 336th player picked. He later was traded to the Browns in 1960. And while Morrow was not one of the most well-known of that, he made 2 Pro Bowls. And I started thinking, no, but all of a sudden, those of us a certain age, the names start going by. And I'm not just talking about Jim Brown or Leroy Kelly, who were Ernie Green, those were in the backfield, Brown, Kelly, Green, or not just Frank Ryan, but like the offensive line, I was able to name them. You had Monty Clark. It was a tackle along with Dick Shafrath, and then the guards were Gene Hickerson. And you had Morrow there, and you had a lot of wonderful offensive linemen. The other guard was John Wooten. And right now, so the Browns would love to have a line with John Morrow in the middle and Wooten and Hickerson at the guards and Shafrath and Monty Clark at the tackles. And I got back to thinking about that game in 1964. By the way, Art Modell blacked it out. He had the choice of showing it on TV or not. And the Browns were playing the heavily favored Colts. For some reason, Modell was afraid if the game was on local TV at the time that people wouldn't show up. So there were ads in different papers, like drive to Erie, Pennsylvania, drive to Columbus, and you could watch the game on TV here because you were out of the blackout area. I remember listening to the game, I was 9 years old at the time, in my friend's basement. On the radio. The game was later shown about 24 hours later on local TV. And so, you know, it was an era of black and white broadcast. It was an era of the quarterback club with Ken Coleman talking to Blanton Collier, and they had like this old filmed thing of showing you the different players and different plays. John Morrow was Lou Groza's roommate, Groza the great kicker, and Morrow told me the story when I did my book Browntown 64, how they were rooming at Hiram College. Think about that, no air conditioning in August in these little rooms, and he walked into the room and took the bed by the window, and he says the only time Lou Groza ever yelled at him. And he said Groza used to grill steaks for the team after practice, and Morrow had this convertible, and then Groza and Morrow and some other players would pile into it, and they'd drive around the countryside out there around Hiram and smoking these cigars. And you know, by the way, they trained in Hiram because the town was dry, no bar. The closest bar was 10 miles away in Garrettsville. So they'd all go over to Garrettsville and get some beers, smoke the cigars, drive around convertibles. They all had jobs later on. John Morrow, after he retired, worked for a paper company up in Wisconsin for most of his life, was married 61 years. And John Morrow died at the age of 84. John, rest in peace.